Hello, my name is Megan Thompson.
I'm Sara, LeJeune.
Awesome, and we're presenting on our senior project, Southern Summarized. We've summarized this project to y'all plenty of times, but just to give you a little refresher, it's a mini series where we talk about topics on campus that students know a little bit about, but they could learn more through different episodes, each ranging from about 2 to 4 minutes long. Southern Summarized covers a variety of topics. So, hooray. I'll go ahead and start off just by saying that completing this project has been a load off both of our shoulders. This senior project has been really fun and awesome, but it's also great to be able to complete such a milestone in our college career, as cheesy as that sounds. So just talking about our fourth and final episode, it was about COVID-19. And kind of talked about its impact on students and faculty at Southern Miss. We used actually via Zoom call to carry out all of our interviews, and it worked really well. And just by the help of our advisors, we kind of made the video quality really good. It turned out really well and a lot better than what I thought was going to be recorded via Zoom.
The University of Southern Mississippi is one of the many universities that have converted to online formats for communication and education wherever possible. At this time, all access and operations at the university are limited at all locations. This limited access has pushed both faculty and students to an alternative online environment. Let's talk about COVID-19 so far and how it has impacted students and faculty personally and educationally here on Southern Summarized.
COVID is a virus that started in Wuhan, China, and it spread very quickly to surrounding countries, including the United States. And because it's spreading so quickly and there is no cure, it's called a pandemic.
It's something that is affecting all of us and really impacting the daily lives, not just us in the United States, but globally. I think for me, it makes me reflect on what it means to be a global citizen and not just like a U.S. citizen.
Now that it's over, like you said earlier, it's definitely a weight that has lifted off of our shoulders. Mainly because, capstone is the class, this is our final test to see what we can do. And I think that Megan and I did a pretty dang good job. And especially with what was given to us and what has happened recently. Going a little in depth, episode 1 was rough, to say the least. I still think that we did a pretty dang good job on that one. With everything.
I think the only thing that was rough about it is that it just took a lot longer than I think we had originally planned, because we didn't account for time to make changes. So when we presented our rough draft to our advisors, we got back a load of criticism, and constructive criticism, and that took a little bit to work on and make the product even better than what we had originally presented. And I think it overall affected us positively in the long run, but at the same time, it just pushed us back and we kind of had to reevaluate where to go for the rest of the project. So that's what's going to happen whenever you start a new project and you don't know exactly where it's going to go. You kind of have to give yourself some time to reevaluate and rebuild your original plan. So continue, go ahead.
Another thing is, we've probably mentioned it thousands of times, but I have Jared as my advisor and Megan has Dr. Sheffer as her advisor. So we have had to send our rough cuts of every episode to both of them and then wait on their responses and critiques.
You don't want to move any further when you're waiting to hear back from 2 different people. So yeah, I might hear back from Sheffer, but I still want to know what Jared thinks before we move forward with the project.
So episode 2, originally we had planned on it to be about parking at USM. However, the physical plant did not get back to Megan, and so we had to push it back. and then move up the visual performing arts episode.
And episode 3 also, by that point we were kind of prepared and we knew exactly what we needed to do. We knew exactly what kind of equipment we needed to check out, what kind of questions we needed to ask, how many people we needed to interview, our time frame of how long it might take to make a rough cut, send it off to the advisors, and then post it. So it was almost like routine by episode 3. Something we kind of learned from this project too is that each episode, like so episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, they are all different like sections of USM. Like there's different things going on with each kind of group that you're interviewing or that you're kind of sitting down and talking to. And there's a lot of different things going on around this project. So it's being considerate of what they're doing, but then also finding people that are able to take the time out of their day to like sit down and talk with you. And like looking forward to the future, I know that my senior project is going to be something that I can use and I can showcase to like different employers.
I do still plan to use everything that I've learned here, you know, in College Hall, everything that I've learned to be a videographer. I do still plan to use that. I think that Southern Summarized, like Megan said, is the pinnacle of, you know, my college career. I think that Southern Summarized is the peak of my videography. I think that Southern Summarized did both of us very well.
It's allowed us to get out of our comfort zone and reach out to people that we probably would not have sat down and talked with if we did the project in the first place. Advice for future senior project MEA students is that listen to your advisors, don't be afraid of change, and stick to your one sheet, but also don't let it confine your project.
Yeah, so when Megan says listen to your advisors, one thing that I had to learn, not necessarily the hard way, but one thing that I learned was to, yes, listen to your advisors, but also ultimately this is your project, right? You are the one creating it, you are the one with the idea. Therefore, your advisors are only there to give you advice on how to make it better. And if you think that, you know, the advice that they gave you isn't going to, you know, move your project in a positive direction, then don't use it. Right? Like, you're not going to hurt their feelings. I had a sit down talk with my advisor and I told him how I was feeling about all of that. And, you know, Jared was pretty, like, really cool about it. And he had said, you know, you're right. Like, we're literally here just to guide you in the right direction. And if you don't think that, you know, I'm guiding you in the right direction, then by all means, like, take over. Like, it is ultimately your project. You make the final decisions, right? Follow your heart. It's your project. Like we've been talking about, like, this is your major thing that, like, you're completing your college career with, you're completing your degree with, and you need to be proud of it. And if you're not proud of it, then something needs to change.
Southern Summarized has been a great opportunity. We've had a great time working with it. If you want to check out our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube page, all of that will be linked in the description as our last presentation. And thank you. Awesome. It's been a great time. So.
It has. I'm really sad that it's over, honestly.
Me too. But all right, all good things must come to an end. So hooray.